Our next speaker is Tracy Mobley. Tracy comes to us from Buffalo, Missouri. She has recently moved, and she'll tell you about living in the boonies and moving into a small town. She is affiliated with the Southwest Missouri chapter of the Alzheimer's Association, and she's here today with her husband, Alan, and her young son, Austin, who has written a book with his mom, and I'll tell you more about that later.
My name is Tracy Mobley. I'm 41 years old, and I was diagnosed with early onset Alzheimer's in August of 2002. I was only 38 years young. Prior to the year 2002, our life as a well-kept, well-organized, and very energetic upper middle-class family had begun to take a new direction on the path that we had been traveling. I got up one morning to get ready for work, and I looked out the window, and there was a dog running around out there. And I looked for a long time, 3, 4, 5 minutes, trying to figure out where'd this dog come from, who is it? And about that time, Austin got up, and I didn't want to alarm him, so I played a game with him. I said, "Austin, come here." I said, "Who's that dog out there?" "Mom, that's Daisy, that's our dog." And I said, "Well, I knew that." And then I realized there's really something wrong.
Well, at first, things were just a little odd. She would say things that were really not her. She would ask questions that were just not really logical. She would do things that sometimes it just didn't seem like she would normally do.
So I was talking to one of the nurses that I worked with and explained to her I didn't know what to do. I can't get a diagnosis, but there's something bad wrong. And so she talked to one of the neurologists that we worked with. She knew him personally, and he said he would see me one time and give his recommendations. Finally, it wasn't until last fall that he actually told me that I had early onset Alzheimer's. A lot of people, when they hear that, they think their life is over. And it's not. You go through a grieving process. But, because I think if they tell you that you have Alzheimer's, I think they're afraid you might just sit down and give up. And some people do.
Mom heard a book called A Young Hope. It's through her what had happened in her lifestyle during her Alzheimer's.
I started a journal when I was having trouble with the symptoms and stuff. I started keeping track of that. In 2002, when I was informally diagnosed, I called the association, and a lady answered the phone, and I told her I needed some information about Alzheimer's disease. And she said, "Is this for you?" No, she said, "Is this for, a loved one?" And I said, "No, it's for me." And she said, "You sound awfully young." And I told her I was only 38 and I'd just been diagnosed. And it was actually the lady that I called at the association that I spoke with. Her name is Judy Stewart, and she encouraged me to write because at that time there wasn't a whole lot out there. All the books that you read was from the caregivers. There wasn't a whole lot about the person that had dementia that wrote the book. And she encouraged me to write it, to reach out to others just like me.
I felt like there was so much inside of her that wanted to be said. And the things that I said, "Are you documenting this? Are you writing these things down?" Not just making a diary, but just making those reflections in there so that you can look back and also to be a linkage for Austin later. And I felt like that she needed to make herself heard. And I felt like other people needed to hear her. So I felt like she needed to, and being early onset like that, she had that capability and that opportunity, that window of time that she could do this. And I felt like she needed to just go forth, and that was a purpose for her. It gave her a purpose, gave her a sense of belonging, gave her a sense of need, gave her a sense that someone appreciated what she had to say.
By writing this book, I was hoping to remove the stigma of Alzheimer's disease. I want people to know that Alzheimer's has no boundaries. It can happen to anyone at any time, regardless of age, race, religion, It doesn't matter. I think I used to take life for granted, like most people do, but I don't anymore, and haven't for a long time. But it's my family and my faith in God that get me through.